Clayton hit me up from Fort Myers, Florida. He said, can you believe how much whining is coming from the FSU fan base? It's a bit pathetic. Is it, though? I've been targeted by these people. A fringe minority of them. I've been targeted by them. So it's not like I don't know what you're talking about. But could you please, just for a second, anyone out there who feels this way, could you please tell me how you'd handle this differently if it happened to your team? You just went undefeated in a Power 5 conference. You won the conference championship game. You did everything history has told you you have to do to be a playoff team. And then a group of people locked themselves in a room, didn't let you see their process. A bunch of high-profile media types in the interim seem to have targeted you and lobbied openly against you making the playoff. You don't make the playoff. And then everyone kind of tries to pile on you because you're outraged by it. And then your own conference is filing lawsuits against you because you're trying to get out of a dying conference. And it feels like a lot of chips are stacked against you. It feels like media is complicit. It feels like the college football bureaucracy is complicit. I have been accused of being complicit, although I'm not. I just shared opinions on what happened. But nevertheless, how would you respond? If you're a Louisville fan, if you're a Texas fan, all that stuff happened to you, how would you respond? There is no rational fan base. That's why they're called fans. I appreciate that about them. Even when they hate me, I appreciate that about them. You know what would suck? You know what would indicate a dying program? If they just kind of took it. If they said, oh, well. If FSU went in Eeyore mode and said, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Well, that's not them. Never has been them. That's what I appreciate about them. Now, I've been on the receiving end of a lot of the criticism and a lot of the animosity, so I know what they've been saying. I understood that report that came out the morning of the national championship game when I think it was Bill Hancock that said they've had to hire private security for some of the members of the playoff committee. Is that taking it overboard? Of course it is. Has there been a lot of ignorance spewed from some FSU folks? Yes. Yes. I mean, there's a very clear line in the sand you shouldn't cross. Most of them haven't. A few have. That's not indicative of how the entire fan base operates. So now that PSA is out of the way, it would be one thing if they didn't have reason to be upset. That's when I join you. I can't join you on that. I mean, Florida State folks got every reason in the world to be irate. Now, I told you when it happened, I told you I think that this is going to suck for a little while. There's no two ways about that. But I think long-term it's going to pay off for them. I think they'll end up benefiting from it. So my thinking there, which sounded dumb, because how can you benefit from being screwed out of a playoff spot? In that year, you can't. But in the long term, it is my opinion Florida State wouldn't have gone on to win the title. Can't prove that, obviously. So if they made it, I think they go to the semifinal round, they get beat, and that's it. But if they get removed from the equation, they feel like they got screwed out of a spot, and that does something. Like when you feel like you had something, you earned something, and it gets taken from you, it's a very stone cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon dynamic from the late 90s. And what it does inside your organization is one thing. What it does to your fan base is also another thing. And when you kind of have all that coalesce, there's an energy that you could never manufacture that your program gets, an us against the world mentality that you can preach, you can bang against the trash can all you want to. They got to feel it. Florida State feels it now. Like they truly feel like there's a machine out there and they don't have anything to do with it. They're not inside of it. It's built and it got used against them. I'm not even here to tell you they're wrong about it. We went very in-depth on that. I'm not revisiting that. But they get to have all that UCF energy once upon a time. But unlike UCF back in the day, Florida State's at the head table. They're at what you used to call the Power 5 table. That stuff will never happen to them again. There will be no undefeated season where they're left out because you're going to a 12-team playoff era now. So what just happened to them is very unfortunate. It'll never happen again, but they get to bottle all that up and they get to use it. And in the interim, not that it was any solace for them in the moment, but in the interim, I thought the biggest takeaway for me from the 2023 season was Well, I guess there's no question about whether Mike Norvell's the real deal or not. Now, they'd come back at you because I've dealt with them, and they'd say, yeah, but we already knew that. Okay, maybe you did. Now the rest of the country knows. And so you got the right coach, you got the right attitude, you've got the right talent roster being built. Like everything's up, up, up. And you also get to believe the entire world of college football is out to get you and built against you.